back on our channel. My name is Amara.
And my name is Gospel.
Wow, it's great to see you. I just want to say, first of all, before we delve into what we want to talk about today, I just want to say thank you so much for all our returning subscribers. You know, you guys are amazing. And if you're new on our channel, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell. Today, we want to start another conversation looking at relationship competence. We started off looking at this previously, and today we want to take on that conversation and look at flexibility. That's what we want to touch on today.
Yes, flexibility is very important in any relationship. People are divided into two categories based on this issue around flexibility. You have people who have fixed mindset, and you have those who have flexibility or growth mindset. A spouse with fixed mindset is someone who is married and the person does not believe that he or she can improve his or her qualities. You know, in relationship, you have relationship skills you come into the relationship with, and if you think that this is who I am, I cannot change who I am, this is me, whatever you see now is what you're going to get in the next 20 years.
Yes.
Then you have fixed mindset. And then there is also this other group with growth mindset who believe that they can grow, they can develop, they can build themselves. This is what this conversation is about.
Now we find a lot of couples with fixed mindset, and they expect that their marriage will be successful by default without any efforts. So they don't want to play any role. They don't want to. They feel that this is going to work anyhow. It's going to work.
Yeah.
So they forget that for a relationship to be successful, it requires a lot of hard work. It requires a lot of effort from the people involved. So basically, all hands have to be on deck. So you need to be intentional about the things you do, about the things you say towards your spouse and the people involved in the relationship. So there must be an intentional commitment. There has to be an effort to improve yourself and be the best, so that in that relationship you can take things, you can actually move things forward, and you're successful in that relationship.
We've always said it that love is not just what you say, it's about what you do. And what you do includes your willingness to improve who you are, your willingness to be the best that you can always be. And your best today may not be what your spouse needs in the next 10 years.
Yes.
So it means you have to keep improving yourself to become your best at every point in time.
It's actually progressive.
That is what it is. So those with fixed mindset understand that life is progressive and change is constant. They keep working on themselves to become the best that they ought to be per time. But those with growth mindset believe that I can't change who I am, I can't do anything about it, this is me.
That's those with fixed mindset.
Fixed mindset.
Yes.
So today we believe that flexibility is one of the core things that you have to come into any relationship with.
Yes. Talking about flexibility, because this has been a point of constant conflict in some relationship.
Where one party is not flexible
and the other party is willing to kind of move things forward and progress things forward. Now, there has to be a level of sincere openness in terms of flexibility to your personal growth. So there has to be some level of responsibility that you take on towards self-improvement as an individual in that relationship. So the willingness to unlearn, learn, and relearn is important. It's at the heart of this. It's at the crux of this.
This is what that is actually what flexibility is about.
Yes.
Your willingness. Mark the word willingness to learn, to unlearn, to
relearn. Yes.
So if there are things you've come into the marriage with that are not making that relationship work well, maybe character flaws and all that, your willingness to
adjust,
unlearn them, and then learn the new ways of doing things that would be suitable for you and your spouse.
Absolutely.
That is flexibility.
I know. And the thing is, I think that this is one quality that people who are actually seeking to get into a relationship or to have a life partner need to consider. They need to consider this, because I think that this, like I said before, is one of the potential point for conflict.
Yeah.
So when you get married to someone who is really super rigid, they always see themselves to be the best, or they think themselves highly, and then they don't see any good in what you do. They always they always see good in what they do, and they feel that their way is the best. This is a problem in a lot of relationships.
Talking about flexibility, let's break it down a bit. One of the ways you have to be flexible is your willingness to learn. Don't come into a marriage with a mindset that you've learned everything there is to know or to learn about marriage.
Yeah.
I know you've read books about marriage, you've gone for seminars, and you know all that theoretically. But when you come into marriage, you're trying to blend your life with someone else, align your ways with someone with a different background and all of those. So that's what you need to do. And then when you talk about learning, let me even put this question across to you. If you're married, if a man is married to a woman, and let's say this man got married to the woman, when they are at the same level in terms of intellectual compatibility, but now he has progressed, he has become better in terms of exposure, and he has a good position in terms of leadership, and this requires the wife to be at the forefront of maybe speaking to the public, and she doesn't have the skills, and she feels, this is me, I can't do anything. What do you suggest the man to do?
Well, I think he can encourage her.
I'm asking this question because there are several marriages where probably the man is trying, he's moving ahead. We've talked about that before.
Yes, and then the woman is a bit laid back. Yes, it could be vice versa as well. I think that there has to be a conversation around why is this important.
Yes.
And I think that also a man or a woman, whoever the case might be in this situation, shouldn't wait until you get to that point to begin to encourage your spouse to upskill themselves. So it should be an ongoing conversation that you have together, in a family. This is where I'm going, and we need to work together, to get to where we are. And this also speaks to what the previous episode when we looked at vision as a family. So discussing this would require you having that conversation around what are the key competencies that we need to develop in order to get to that point. So I think that this has to be an ongoing conversation, and in order for someone to see the need in them improving themselves or upskilling themselves, then you need to be able to communicate the vision coherently for them to say, okay, I'm on board with this. I think that I need to improve, I need to step up, I need to upskill myself. So having that conversation, I think, is important, but it has to be ongoing.
Apart from having the conversation, I can also say that you don't wait until there is a gap between you and your spouse.
Exactly.
Before you now see the need to improve yourself.
Yes.
Life is progressive. Everyone needs to have that mindset of engaging in ongoing self-development.
And I think, sorry that I'm trying to call you in, but I think that another thing to consider here is the fact that the people in the relationship, I don't want to be gender specific right now, but sometimes you find that one person is desirable of upskilling themselves,
because
but the other
person is flexible.
Yes, but the other person says, no, I don't want you to upskill yourself. I want you to be, more like not saying no, but not encouraging that.
All right, I get what you're
saying. So you find that, sometimes women are usually in that situation where they want to do something, but because they have spent a lot of years with child caring responsibilities and all that, and now they are kind of not being encouraged to do that.
That also speaks about flexibility from the point of having that mindset to encourage someone to develop him or herself. Because if you're rigid, you don't have an open mind to see that your spouse needs to improve himself or herself, then you are having that fixed mindset.
Yes. And I just want to say here that this is an important factor in marriage.
Yes.
Because marriage is a lifelong journey and it involves a lifetime learning process. So in marriage, you learn new things. You about yourself, about your mate, even about your children, because again, you just had them, they build their attitude as they begin to develop, and you begin to see new traits. So if you have in-laws as well, you need to learn about them. You need to learn how to navigate some very difficult, relationship, and even some uncomfortable conversation. So that's something that people need to be open about. They have to have an open mindset about embracing these differences and not seeing things that everyone has to think like you or behave like you, because we are all different.
Which means even if you've gone into a relationship or a marital relationship without having that mindset of flexibility,
yes,
it is not late to
change,
adjust yourself, and have a transformed mindset
about
knowing that you can be flexible.
Yes,
you can be open to change. You can be open for adjustment.
Another aspect of flexibility that we think it's really important is being flexible to accept your mistakes. One of the proof of flexibility is your ability to know when you're wrong, and you owning, taking responsibility for that mistake. There are individuals in relationship, they would never accept, for whatever reason, that they are wrong. They would never accept that they have made a mistake, even when it is very obvious. Some people can never say I'm sorry.
And the thing, anyone who cannot accept his or her mistakes has an issue in terms of his self-image.
Yes.
Because you can't be perfect. No one is perfect. Everyone is prone to error. Now it's important that when you've made a mistake, you take the responsibility and be vulnerable enough to say, I am sorry. It is a sign of maturity to take responsibility for your mistakes, for your wrongs, and not just take responsibility for it in terms of saying, I am sorry. Flexibility in this sense means you have to improve yourself and find a way not to do whatever you've done before again. If I tell my wife, I am sorry I spoke to you in a harsh way, the next step is to work on myself so that I don't speak to her in a harsh way again. So if I say I am sorry today, I'm sorry tomorrow, every time I'm saying
over
I'm sorry,
the same action,
the I'm sorry doesn't have any value.
Yes.
I am not flexible in terms of taking responsibility for my mistakes.
So following up from what you just said right now, I think that flexibility also requires the parties involved to be patient with their spouses and being hopeful that they would make the necessary adjustment, because sometimes some individuals in a relationship cannot get to a point where they accept their spouse for who he or she is. And I think there's a lot of flexibility required in this. So you're deeply in love with someone, you also need to also appreciate the fact that when that person has made a mistake, just like you're trying to say, it's not in this person's nature to change
automatically
like this. So you might need to be patient and give them time.
Which means he can also say, I am sorry genuinely, but then he needs a process of to walk through change.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very important point.
Yeah, so you need to be patient with them and, just feel what they feel. Empathize with the fact that, this person is not used to it. Maybe their upbringing did not support or enable such behavior. So you might want to give them time and encourage them. Of course, hold them accountable every step of the way, but be patient with them.
Yeah, it's a good point you raised. It also depends on the kind of issue we are looking at. If we are looking at, for instance, personality issues.
Yes.
I could be an introvert. I am slow in the way I do things, and you expect me to act like an extrovert. In that sense, it becomes a very serious issue for me to walk away from my personality to fit into whatever you expect me to be.
Yeah.
So flexibility means you have to come to a middle point, knowing that this is who this person is.
Yes.
But when it comes to issues around hurting someone's feelings, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, and all of those, there has to be a sense of accountability and responsibility in that sense.
True.
Another aspect of flexibility I think is very important we talk about is flexibility in decision making. Decision making, because sometimes some people are rigid in their ways, such that when they make a decision,
it's final.
No
questioning.
Yes. And in marriage, on daily basis, couples are confronted with different issues, circumstances that require them to make either minor or major decisions.
That's true. Good that you've mentioned minor and major decisions. But you find that a lot of conflict is sometimes in relationships stem from minor decisions. So where you find things like, oh yes, I don't want to watch this channel, I want to watch that channel, or yes, no, I don't want to go there, I want to go here, or things around game or even football and so many other things. But the fact is that around major decisions as well, people involved in the relationship would also need some level of flexibility.
Even in minor decisions. Let's even bring it home to minors, because sometimes, like you said, minor decisions can even create room for conflict.
Yes.
For instance, on a Saturday, we have one television and I want to watch football. And you know that football starts from 12:30 till 8 p.m.
Yes.
Now, flexibility means, all right, I want to watch football. Can I watch football for like 2 hours? And then allow my wife to watch something else that she likes to watch, and we can do it together. But you see, in some cases, the men will think, this is my home. Maybe I bought the television. I am the head of the home. I have to control what everyone watches in the house.
I see your point.
And that will create problem.
Conflict, yes.
So in this sense, minor decision can now reap into
major
conflict.
Yeah, that's true. But I think it's about working together, basically.
Exactly.
And trying to understand how can we navigate this together, because it's a decision that would affect our relationship, whether it's a minor one or it's a major one. But it's just basically giving the other a voice.
Yes.
In that decision.
Very important.
So whether it's the man or the woman, just have a chat about it. Don't just say my decision is final. It's done. And you find that even in some relationship where children are involved, they're a bit skeptical. They feel like they're torn in between two worlds where, daddy's saying something, mommy's saying something, who do we go with? So it's a bit like an awkward moment for them. So I think that having that unified front in terms of decision making is very important. But at the same time, you also need some level of flexibility to kind of reach a point of agreement.
Yeah, flexibility means carry everyone along. As a man,
as much as you can.
As a man who is the husband, the father, flexibility means you don't just say because you're the head of the home, it's all about you. So bringing in your wife's opinion and looking at the strength of her argument. Sometimes she might have more valid points that everyone needs to tend or tilt towards her opinion.
I think here, the question here is about how you communicate that.
Exactly.
It's not basically the issue at hand, but it's about the ways that you put it forward. So if you can communicate in such a way that this is very important, this is something we have to do. It's not about me, it's about
us.
Then, the way that information will be received might be different from when you say, it is my decision, it is final.
I'm
totally on board with
what you're saying. But I'm saying to you also that there are families where the men are wired to think they are the ones who call the shots. Yes, they call the shots, they make the final decision. But then you must allow that open conversation where everyone makes a contribution. Even the children have a role to play. There are decisions that affect them that you must involve them. You have to seek their opinion.
That's true.
And if they have a stronger point than the parent's point, allow their point to rule the day. That is my point of view. And that shows flexibility. It doesn't mean you're not the parent anymore.
Yeah.
It means that you're flexible to look at things from an objective point of view.
people need to be flexible to life changes. People change, job changes, location could change. A lot of things could change in terms of even looking at the life of a woman, even in a relationship. You're married as a single woman, can get pregnant, childbirth, could even be a death of a loved one. It could even be the health issues that people encounter, financial loss, extramarital affairs in some case, aging. All sorts of changes happen, and this can affect the sustainability of your love life. And I think that it is very important that people have this point of view, because the view that an unfortunate thing can happen and then it changes the life of married couples. You know, they go through some of these changes. They do not warn us about these changes. Some of these changes just happen to us, and they just, you know, come upon us. So it is very important that we are flexible. We understand that in our relationship, we should be open to change. We should be, to some extent, prepared for change, although some changes are not expected.
Yeah, the issue around change is that when you have this mindset that life is a journey and things could happen along the way, it helps you not to be negatively impacted so much that you won't be able to cope with life itself.
Yes.
For instance, the loss of a job. Using what is going on
right
all
now
over the world, people lose their jobs, people get into different issues around the world. So have that flexibility, knowing that when these things happen, how do you cope with them? How do you deal with them?
You know, the thing is that life sometimes is unfair. You know, it sometimes dishes on our plate what we don't even deserve. So, and that kind of affects, especially when the unexpected happens. So how flexible are we prepared to accommodate change when it, you know, when life deals with us in that way? You know, the fact is that there are things that happen in marriage, whether to a man or to a woman, that can really impact on who they are. So they end up not becoming the same person because they've been through things within a relationship. And his or her character may never be the same. It could be better or it could be worse. So the fact is that as things progresses in your relationship, your viewpoint, his viewpoint might be different. And again, another thing to consider, especially in the terrain where we are now, globally speaking, is political inclination. So your political inclination could be also be different. Now, it's about being flexible to discuss these things and, you know, hold on to yourselves, because you are what you need in order to weather the storm. Yeah,
you have to be strong enough to navigate some of these circumstances. And flexibility helps you to see life from a very constructive point of view, where you're not fixed thinking because things are wonderful today, they will be wonderful forever. Or because things are bad today,
they'll be bad.
You've been looking at it from a negative perspective. But look at it this way. Maybe in your marriage, you're struggling, there is no finances, things are so bad. Flexibility means you have that open mind to know you can walk through the bad moments and move into your summertime when things will be wonderful again. As long as you keep staying together as a family, you're one, you're united, you're working together. And we believe that where there is love, where there is unity, where there is synergy, oneness, nothing is impossible.
Now let me just say that we can go on and on talking about flexibility. I mean, the crux of it is that flexibility begins with your mind. It begins with a change of mind. How you see life, how you see people, how you see situation. To be flexible, you must develop the capacity to view things from varied paradigm. It's not always, it shouldn't always be about how you see things. It is important for you to take time to discuss things, look at things from people's lens as well. How are they seeing it? Is it okay? And sometimes just being comfortable with how somebody else sees something and just going with the flow.
Yeah.
You might surprise yourself. Things might be different.
And flexibility also involves you knowing that life is not static.
Yes.
Life is progressive, and in your mind you gain information that will help you broaden your perspective to life.
Yes.
Because what you know influences how you think, and how you think affects your actions.
Yeah.
So for you to have that flexibility, you have to work on your mindset.
Yes. And I would say that we have touched on a number of things, but please do tell us, are there areas of flexibility that you think is required in a relationship in order to build that competence in that way? Please drop your comments in the comment section. Let us know what your thoughts are on that. And I just want to say thank you so very much for you sticking right to the end of this content that we have actually put out today. And again, if you're new to our channel, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell. I want to say it was a pleasure to see you all. Have a wonderful day ahead. Until the next episode, it's goodbye.